Parents urged me into having surgery, and refused to help me with recovery afterwards, so I've 23F been fighting against obesity for some years now. It's not that I was obese my whole life. When I was a child I was pretty thin, but not totally for the right reasons. The first motive I was thin is that I was pretty active and passionate about martial arts. The second motive was that my parents hated the idea of me getting fat, like, really hated, and since they knew I had genetical tendencies to go obese they would act super restrict with my diet. In an almost maniac way. For example, if someone gave me an Easter egg they would take it away from me, and give it to another person. If I was caught eating something they think I shouldn't they would beat me, and verbally abuse me. They would also shame me constantly about my body, even though I was pretty skinny as I said, and terrify me about how I would have no friends, or people who love me if I happened to gain weight. I remember my father would tell me with some frequency that the world belongs to thin people with those exact words. So, I kept going like that until I had an age to have some money and made the discovery that if I buy things with my money, and eat on the school or anywhere my parents couldn't keep track then I would be able to eat without getting beaten. So I started getting addicted to sugar and to eat compulsively every time I left home. That's how I started gaining weight. When I became an adult I tried to lose weight in a lot of ways. Mostly without the help of my parents because I couldn't trust them. But 3 years ago a series of unfortunate events including my grandparents passing, and my sister drug addiction, not gonna talk about that now, happened and I had to make the choice of trying to trust my parents again, and I think the pain kind of humbled them a little so they became tolerable. Little by little I decided to talk to my parents about the insecurities with my body and my health, and they sounded comprehensive-ish. At the time I was kind of scared of the idea of surgery intervention, but my parents started to make the idea look sweeter to me, no pun intended. So after 2 years and a lot of talk and promises I decided to go on and say yes to the bariatric surgery, a decision that made my parents literally weep. They helped me with all of the bureaucracy, promised me to take good care of me and be with me in the process. I think I never felt so close to them. So the surgery came, and the nightmare started. First it was the room problem. My room is on the 2nd floor, and there is no other room in the 1st floor except for a small one, that is as good as Harry Potter closet. We had decided months before that I would go to my room in the 2nd floor and would stay there, with them bringing my food and meds to me. It was the agreement. But as soon as I put my foot into the house my mother urged me to go to the Harry Potter understairs room, which I refused and went to my room, thinking nothing bad would happen. In the first day they took good care of me with smiles. In the second they started to complain about how lazy I was and how I was making life difficult to them by not going downstairs to do stuff. They started to guilt trip me into doing things the doctor forbid, like going down and up the stairs to pick my food and medications or take care of the dogs. One day my mother called me out for refusing to help her with the garden. Usually I do that, for fear of infection. After 4 days, they stopped making the foods I needed, so I had to go all the way into the kitchen and force myself to cook even though the doctor said I shouldn't do near the stove. Every time I complain about they not helping me the way they were supposed to, they tell me it was my fault for refusing to stay in the Harry Potter understairs closet. And when I say they agreed that room is not adequate for someone recovering for surgery, they try to gaslight me and try to convince me we never had this conversation, and I went to my room because I'm stubborn. Some days ago my mother went ballistic, and said she would give my dogs away if I didn't started care for them again, so I started doing it. I think the pinnacle was today, when I had to go to the nutritionist to change my diet, and my mother, who is required to go with me, since she signed a contract saying she's my caretaker, not only refused to put my orthopedic socks I am required to wear by telling it is unnecessary, it isn't, knowing that I cannot put them on my own, but she also decided to make the appointment with the nutritionist very uncomfortable by revealing to the lady that I told her in private that though her voice was annoying, I didn't know where to put my face, and the doctor looked uncomfortable as well. When we left I told my mother it was unnecessary, and I didn't like she did it, and again she became ballistic and told me that because of that she wouldn't bother to go with me or even take me to the next appointment, that is today, so I'll have to expose my weakened immune system by going in a Uber, or asking a friend to take me. Again, she signed a contract so she is required to go with me. It's been almost 2 weeks since the surgery, and honestly by now I feel not only abandoned, but I also regret with all my being for trusting them with my health. At the end me getting thinner is something they want, not because it's good for me, but because they can't bear the idea of me being fat. Disclaimer, just wanted to say that this is my experience, and I'm not trying to say bariatric surgery is bad, and eating a lot of candy is good and yada yada. I believe obesity is a health problem, but people should have the right to treat it in the way they think it fits, and not be bullied and manipulated into doing things they don't feel comfortable with. Update. I just want to thank everyone for the support, all of the ideas, the shared stories, the kind words, everything. You really helped me feel better today. People like you are the ones that make me feel some hope for humanity.